Welcome to the world of Another Eden. It is a massive game with so many things you can do. Having probably invested thousands of hours of time into this game over the course of several years, here are 5 things I definitely do as a beginner, and each one gets more and more important, so you don't want to skip anything. It's David Wowee. How you doing? I've got another Eden beginner's guide for you. Let's get to it. First thing you should do is probably the most important thing you should do when starting the game, which is to set up your transfer ID. Do not be lazy about this step. If you lose your account or if your device becomes unplayable for any reason, you can be super screwed if you don't have it backed up. Go to the menu, other, and then data transfer settings, and then transfer instructions for a step-by-step on how to do it. And if I were you, I'd choose the data transfer ID as my backup option rather than creating an account through Facebook, Apple, or Google, because you never know when your device will change or if the game decides not to include logins via other platforms in the future. Keep a photo, record, and backup of the ID and your password so you don't lose it and don't stuff up in the future. The second thing you should be aware of is that unlike other gacha games, most of Another Eden's event content is here to stay forever. There are exceptions, but for the most part, you don't need to feel rushed to complete things. It's a single player experience, so just take your time and enjoy. A quick way to see what content is available is to go to quests on your main menu, and you can filter between in progress and receivable tabs. Another thing you can do is go to menu and then records. Here you'll see episodes and symphonies. Episodes are special stories that occur outside of Another Eden's main story that often have their own unique stories, rewards, and free characters. Symphonies are similar, except what makes them different is that symphonies contain all of Another Eden's collabs with other games. So on my screen, you can see the special collab with Atelier Ryza, King of Fighters, the Octopath franchise, and so on. And remember when I hinted that most content is here to stay, but there are exceptions? The Chrono Cross collab expires on the 9th of December 2026, and the Octopath collab expires on the 6th of December 2028. On top of this, Another Eden's gacha mechanic does have limited banners, some of them lasting only a few days. I do have a complete video guide on how Another Eden gacha works, so check it out after this video. Let me know in the comments if I've missed anything. Which free character should you choose with the tutorial summon? At some point in the game, you'll get to pick your first free summon character. Want to know the truth? It doesn't matter, bro. When I started the game, I picked Raven because he looked cool, and I actually used him for a lot of early game. But endgame players know how ridiculously power-crept Raven is at this point in time. The characters you'll get along the way, quite soon after actually, can be much more powerful than the ones you can pick from this. But if you wanted a tip on which characters to get, Ciel and Miyu are required for some pretty big side quests, though there's a high chance you'll pull them on standard banner pulls later. And if you wanted a tip on which single character would be the most worthwhile endgame, as of the time of making this video, I would pick Benedict. Unlock his 5-star and build him right, and even today, he can be a really powerful character that you can even use against super bosses. Chrono Stones are the currency for this game's gacha system, and one way to get them free and easily is to log in daily. Every day, if you click on the little film icon on the top left, you can get a free keycard, which I'll explain later, or free Chrono Stones for watching ads if you're a free player, and if you're a paid subscriber, you get to skip the ads and just get the free stuff. And then, if you look at the top of your screen, next to your Chrono Stone count, you'll see a plus sign. This is a screen where paid players can buy more Chrono Stones, but you can ignore that and choose the top option to get 10 free Chrono Stones daily. And if you've finished chapter 25 of the main story, you'll also unlock the cat scratchbook. This cat scratchbook lets you search for cats in exchange for daily items. Sometimes you can get 200 Chrono Stones. More importantly, you get majestic fur balls, which you can trade with a cat queen to get cat queen weapons and armor, which are super useful as they increase the XP you get with every battle. For more daily login hacks, check out my daily login videos, which is still mostly relevant today. There are 4 things you want to think about when you want to win in battle. First is team building. A lot of it really depends on the team you build. That's why you can often see people on YouTube beat the hardest bosses with all the characters because they've got their team building right. I've done a bunch of character guides and a team building guide, so check them out after this. And if you're ever stuck, become a member of my Discord. It's full of helpful people, and hopefully one day you can share your own tips too. Next is understanding elements and attack types. In Another Eden, we've currently got the elements of fire, water, earth, wind, wind, crystal, shade, and thunder. Water beats fire, fire beats wind, wind beats earth, earth beats water, shade beats thunder, thunder beats shade, and crystal beats itself. You can screenshot this so you can refer to it anytime or look it up on the unofficial wiki later. There are a lot more nuances to this, but understanding this is a good start as a beginner. One team building approach you can do is build teams based on elements. So you build a fire team, a water team, a wind team, and so forth. So one way to decide if you should pull a character during banner pulls is to look at the element and playstyle of the character in the banner. For example, if the latest banner has a water support character, but your water team already has a great water support, maybe you don't need them. Or if you have a solid water DPS but need a support character, maybe you do. Building teams based on elements isn't always the best strategy, and there are so many tricky things you can do, like use characters to change elements mid-battle, but this approach can still be useful for most of the game, especially for beginning players, and it's still how I personally mainly build most of my teams. There are also non-elemental physical and magical attacks which don't have an element. They aren't common, but there are some rare characters that are non-element like Xianhua, Fine, and Benedict. On top of elements, we also have skill types which describe the kind of attacks your character mainly has. You've got magic attacks, slash attacks, pierce attacks, and blunt attacks, and sometimes you can have characters who can use multiple versions of these attacks. Enemies can be weak against, absorb, or resist these elements and attack types, and you can amplify the strengths of these elements and attack types with zones. Check out my zone guide after this video for more information. The third thing you can do to improve your battles and to improve how you experience the game in general is to use the unofficial Another Eden wiki. For most people in the community, the wiki is their best friend. A team of very generous people have been updating this wiki regularly to show you pretty much everything you need to know about this game, from character skills, armor, weapon, and Grasta write-ups to how to unlock secrets. It's got everything. I've linked to it in my description, or you can just Google Another Eden wiki. If you've got some cash to spare, send a donation to the wiki's way to keep it alive and pumping. The next thing you want to think about to improve battles is Grasta. If you're stuck on a boss and wonder how on earth a YouTuber is dealing so much damage with the exact same characters you're using, it's most likely because they've equipped their characters with the right Grasta. I've done whole Grasta guides as well as character guides that include Grasta recommendations, but to sum it up, Grasta are items you can enhance and equip to your characters to greatly increase your impact in battle. This brings me to the final and potentially the most useful tip for new players who want to unlock most of what this game has to offer, which is focus on finishing the main story. To get that Grasta functionality I told you about, you need to finish chapter 48 of the main story. Extra challenges, some of the strongest weapons in the game, great free characters, battle simulator, astral archives, the best and other dungeons, and even the major upgrades for main characters like Aldo and Fine can only be unlocked by playing through the main story. The main story isn't going anywhere, so don't feel like I'm rushing you, but just know that if you want to unlock most of the good features in this game, play through the main story. If you don't know how to continue the main story, go to the quests icon on the bottom left, and right at the top you should see main story. Tap on that to be guided on where to go next. And before we go, here are 2 bonus tips for you, and they have to do with leveling up your characters. Like any traditional JRPG, you can level up your characters by beating bad guys and gaining XP, or getting leveling up materials called scrolls. But here's where things are a bit different. Characters have star ratings, and these star ratings determine how high of a level they can be. You can get 3-star, 4-star, 4.5-star, and 5-star characters. 3-star characters are the crappy ones you pull several times in banner pulls, and the max level they can get is level 50. They will normally get instantly killed in later battles. Next we have 4-star characters that back in the day could still hold up to later content, now not so much. The max level is level 60. 4.5-star characters are characters that can be upgraded to 5-star characters. You can normally check if they can be upgraded to 5 stars by tapping on their ability section to see their max star rating. However, this isn't always the case, and sometimes, although their normal style versions are limited to 4 stars, they have another style or other versions that can be 5 stars. What's in another style? I'll explain soon. If you're in doubt if your character can be upgraded to 5-star, the best way is to check the wiki. So if your character can be upgraded to a 5-star version, one typical way to upgrade them to their 5-star version is to either pull their 5-star version in a banner pool, or get the required materials to upgrade them via Lady Mid in Time's Forgotten Stop, a feature you can get after finishing chapter 11 of the main story. But there are exceptions, and some characters, especially free characters like Aldo, require require you to do certain quests to upgrade them. 5-star characters once could only reach level 80, but now, thanks to the Stellar Awakening system, can now get them to level 100. You need a whole video to understand how Stellar Awakening works, which I've already done for you, mate. Check it out after this. Now, besides a character's style level, you need to understand their styles. At this point in time, characters can be normal style, another style, abbreviated as AS, extra style called ES, alter called AC. Alter characters are a parallel timeline version of that character, and while we're at it, we have another style versions of alter characters abbreviated as ACAS or ACAS. Each style has a different design and variation in skill set. Since alter characters come from different timelines, you can use those alter characters along with their normal, another, or extra style versions in the same battle. To get any of these versions of a character, you either pull them in a banner, or if you have at least one of the versions of the character, you can side grade them using the required materials via Lady Mid at Time's Forgotten Stop. To find out what materials you need, just look up your desired character in the wiki and it should tell you what you need. Some characters like Senya, for example, will require to finish parts of the story to unlock their another style, or like Azami, finish a series of battles. Now here's my final bonus super secret tip, which is experience and material farming. Where should you farm for XP and materials to max out your team? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you're feeling generous, donate a thanks or become a super member for extra content and tips. A huge shout out to my existing supporters and super members. These videos take a lot of effort, so your support helps keep this channel growing. Let's start with XP farming. As a beginner, play through the main story until you unlock Sebastian's Battle Simulator, which I believe you unlock after finishing main story chapter 1. Not only does finishing each part of Battle Simulator give you some great Chronostones rewards and rare and super useful items, you can also farm XP with what's called fraudicide farming. Essentially, fraudicide farming is a decent way for new players to farm XP for their team using one of the levels in Battle Simulator. I'll link to instructions in the description of this video. Next is the Sealed Realm, the transitory time-space dungeon. It does cost 1 red keycard to play through, but the XP you gain from this dungeon is tremendous, especially if you equip your units with Cat Queen and experience farming equipment. Finishing this dungeon can also give you XP farming items and badges. And finally, if you've reached main story part 3, there are of course phase shifts, but that is for a different video, because by then, if you've reached main story part 3, you're definitely no longer a beginner. As for material farming, some of the best items, Grasta, and equipment can be farmed from Battle Simulator, which I've discussed. You can also get great items by completing the Astral Archives, which are a series of boss battles that you unlock after finishing chapter 11 of the main story. I've done a whole guide on this, check it out. And lastly, you can farm great stuff, especially really good Grasta, from the Another dungeons that come after finishing parts of the main story. If you don't know what an Another dungeon is, basically you unlock Another dungeons after finishing chapter 10 of the main story. Another dungeons let you do a modified rerun of the major dungeons you play throughout the game. Playing through these dungeons let you farm materials for crafting weapons and can unlock other items that can be useful for your game, like Grasta. And some dungeons can also unlock light or shadow points for free characters. Check my guide for more info. Playing Another dungeons costs green or red keycards, which you can get through in-game promotions from the daily ad watching that I mentioned earlier, and they also replenish every 6 hours. The best Another dungeons for Grasta farming are the Antiquity, Present, and Future Garalea content dungeons, as well as the Holo dungeons, which you'll progressively unlock by playing through the main story. And that is the keyword, main story. As I mentioned in my previous tip, as a beginner, focus on playing the main story. I hope this video helped. Check out my other videos, you're going to love them.